Hello viewers, welcome back again to today's class and the lesson. Today the topic of discussion is the lives and contributions of the Kenyan leaders, and we did introduce the early life of Jomo Kenyatta as the first Kenyan leader. Now today we'll get to his political career, right? What do we know, what do we get to know about his political career, right? From when he started in the associations until climbing high to the presidency. Now, what do we get to know about his political career? Now, one thing I need to I need to tell you about Jomo Kenyatta is that he was an elite, right? He went through elementary school. That is why you saw him being appointed, or him working the size of farms, and also him working in the Nairobi municipality in the water department. Now class, today we'll get to look at his political career. Your teacher is Roger Michira, and the station you're watching is Elimu TV. Welcome all, and let us be ready to learn. Now class, what do we expect by the end of the lesson? We do expect that we are able to give an outline, or we are able to give an account of Jomo Kenyatta's political career. Now getting to discussion, let's get to look at his political career. Now Kenyatta started involving in politics back in the year 1920, right? Remember, in the 1920 is a year when we had these political associations, right? The Kikuyu Central Association, the KCC, right? All those associations, right? Those were that's the year when Jomo Kenyatta started in being involved in politics. So one thing we have already learned that Kenyatta started involving in politics in the year 1920. Now in the year 1920, he became the secretary of the Kikuyu Central Association, right? He helped in translation of words from English and Kiswahili to Kikuyu. His major role was to interpret. Remember, I told you in his earlier life, right? Jomo Kenyatta had gone to school, right? He was now an elite. He was educated. That is why he was made the secretary of the KCA in the year 1920, and his main role was to translate words, or rather, it was to interpret from English to Kiswahili and from Kiswahili to Gikuyu. We can get to see the KCA, right? They are seated. That's an association. They are seated, and you can get to see. We have got. Those who are seated, those are the members of the KCA. Then those who are standing, those were the leaders of KCA, whereby Jomo Kenyatta was one of the secretary. Then also in 1928, we have got the Kikuyu Central Association launched a newspaper, right? Mwigidhania, right? And in that newspaper, Kenyatta was its editor. And we said earlier that Kenyatta was educated. He had gone to school. He had completed his elementary school. That is why he was able to be given a secretary of the KCA and also the editor of the Kikuyu newspaper, right? Meaning he was educated. He was an elite. You can get to see the newspaper, right? So meaning it mainly touched on the issues affecting the Kikuyu people. That is why it was a Kikuyu newspaper. You can get to see that the big struggle began for African freedom, right? So in him being an editor, this is where he outlined a number of the grievances facing the Kikuyu community. And again, another significant thing we can get to realize in his political career, that in the year 1929, the Kikuyu Central Association sent Jomo Kenyatta to present their grievances in Britain, right, by the British government. So while in Britain, this is when Kenyatta transformed himself as a Kenyan nationalist leader, right? That is where his nationalism started, back in Britain, when he was sent by the Kikuyu community to present the grievances to the British High Commissioner in Britain, right? Now, this is where in the year 1929, when he was in Britain, most of his grievances, most of his advocations were featured in the Sunday Worker in Britain. And also, he became the secretary of the International Friends of Abyssinia organization. This was an organization of Pan-Africanist, right, from Kenya and abroad. Now he became a secretary of the IFAO. And also, when he came from Britain, Kenyatta was elected as the KAU, right? Kenya African Union president. Now, when he was elected the president of KAU, he replaced James Gishuru, right? Now, Kenyatta and a number of his officials were arrested. That is the year when KAU was instituted, and also a number of the political leaders or leaders in the KAU futures were arrested. But again, one thing we get to notice about Kenyatta is that in the year 1961, Kenyatta was released, right? After being detained for a number of years, in the year 1961, Kenyatta was released and he joined Kenya African National Union, well known as KANU, right? He then joined other nationalists in fighting for independence. But again, there is this issue of did really Kenyatta fight for independence, right? That is a bone of contention, because we get to see most of his life he spent in Britain, right? He spent in Britain, but in Kenya mostly he didn't. He was not that active as he was in Britain. Now, in the year 1962, Kenyatta and other African nationalists, for example, we had Jaramogi Oginga, B.A. Ohanga, right? Tom Mboya, Ronald Ngala, right? So the African nationalists attended the Lancaster House Conference, including also we had Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. So in London, they prepared the way for Uhuru. So on the 1st of June 1963, Kenya attained internal self-government, right? You can get to see those people who attended the Lancaster House Conference. We can see Kenyatta there. We can also see left to Kenyatta, we have got Tom Mboya. Right to him, then we have got Jaramogi Oginga. Those are the people who attended the first conference, House Conference, the Lancaster House Conference. We can see that. We can see them there. We can see B.A. Ohanga on the front row, right? Those are the people who attended the first House Conference. This is the conference that led to Kenya's attaining of independence. Now, for our task class, can we get to narrate the political career of Jomo Kenyatta? And for our reference, get to refer to Evolving World, History, and Government. And as always, the station you're watching is Elimu TV, your favorite learning channel.